Alright y'all, finally got a chance to mess with the headache rack a little bit more. At least I'm gonna try. I got this 3/4 inch square tubing mild steel that I'm gonna use. I'm probably gonna do about 5 or 6 bars going across here. And I also have this 2-inch thin flat bar, which I'm gonna go up and down 2 of them right here. And basically cut out squares to where the tube can go through it, and I'll tack it all together and we'll see how that goes. So that's pretty much what I'm talking about with the flat bar. I'm gonna have 2 of them going vertically, and I'm gonna have probably 5 or 6 squares cut out in them to where the tube can pass through them. And the bottom one's gonna go right even with the bottom of the glass pretty much. And whatever distance this is from the bottom of the headache rack to the first bar, I'm gonna just go that same amount all the way to the top. So I'm gonna take a marker and mark about where I need to have it so I can grind it before I weld it. That way I'll have a reference point to where I need to grind. And I'll also put a mark right even with the window here to see how far I need to go up. Alright y'all, so this is what I got so far. Basically been spending a little time grinding or sanding the rust off. That way my welds will do right. And so this is 3 inches from the bottom to this point, and 3 inches in between each one. So that's the spacing that I'm going to go with. That way if I want to wash the truck and, you know, get a rag to clean all the glass, I can reach through and, you know, wash it and stuff, but it still has enough protection. I haven't cut my angles yet, of course. The 2 rusty ones are actually too short, so I have to go back to the metal place and get some more sticks at the right length, and because these aren't long enough, they're about 1 inch or 2 too short. And I still have to cut my squares out on the flat bar and turn it sideways and make the tubing go through it. So I still have a lot left to do on that. Just kind of giving you an idea of what I'm going with. Alright, so I got my little squares drawn out here, and basically what I'm going to do, I think to make the cutouts, is I'm going to use these little hole saws that I just picked up, and it's pretty much the right size, only it's round. So what I'm going to do is drill through them, find the centers, you know, drill them, and then take my saw and just touch up the corners with my, let's see, using a jigsaw with a metal blade. I think it'll work fine because it's pretty thin metal. Alright, so what I did is I just drew a little X corner to corner to find the center, and I'm probably just going to use these self-taps just to get my pilot hole. I find it works pretty good, these self-tapping screws, just to get your hole started. The center punch works okay, but I like this technique as well. You don't have to go all the way through, just, you know, get it going. Ooh. Wow. Check that out. Let's try to redo that. Alright, got that hole started. They're ready to go. Works like a champ. The only issue with these hole dozer hole saws is after you make one drill cut or whatever you want to call it, it has this little thing in there, and you can just keep drilling and it'll keep building up here, but if you don't get them out, it makes it difficult. So you got to pretty much unscrew it and use a pick or something and hammer that little thing out. You gotta watch, make sure you don't burn the hell out of your finger like I just did too. Looks like that might work pretty good. We'll see. Let's see. Oh yeah. So it's got a little bit of slack all the way around. But that's not a problem because I'm gonna tack weld all that in place. It's not too much gap. So I guess I'll finish drilling these holes here. Alright, so I got all those drilled. Take my jigsaw and finish cutting everything out like I did this one. So that way I have some square holes. I think that's all I'm going to do for today. I got all the squares cut out. I got my tubing ran through it. Like I said, the rusty ones, these aren't being used. I gotta go and get some more metal the right length, cut them at the right length. And then I gotta take the headache rack off the truck, lay it down and set this in there and get all my angles cut right, get it all tacked in. But this kind of gives you an idea what I'm going for. Here's another angle. I just went ahead and stood it up just to kind of give you a visual. Alright y'all, it's a few days later. I went ahead and picked up some more metal. Coming up short over here. So I just got to cut 2 more pieces for right here. But first I need to get all of the rust off of it. The metal yard that we get our stuff from keeps everything outside, so it has a nice little sheen of surface rust. So that actually takes a good bit of time, so consider that if you're ever building something out of metal and your supplier, if it's rusty or not, if you have to clean it all real good before you actually build. So I'm gonna have rust all over this again, which I already know, but I'm gonna address that when it's time to paint it. Today I'm gonna have to pull these side rails off and pull the headache rack off in order to lay it down flat to where I can get my bars welded onto the headache rack. Alright, so that took a little while, probably 20 minutes, just to sand all of that surface rust off. And I didn't get it perfect, but you know, I got most of it off. The main reason I'm doing that is for whenever I do my welds, I want it to be clean, and plus it'll be less trouble when I'm trying to paint it to sand it all down and stuff. So let me go ahead and cut this piece in half and slide it into the bar. So what kind of stinks about working on projects on the side when you're not working is it's usually raining because that's the only time we have time to mess with side projects. So trucks outside and getting rained on periodically, trying to work on it, but we're getting through it. So I just tried to lift the headache rack off. I unbolted everything, but it's just way too heavy. I guess I'm gonna have to get some help. I can't lift it up by myself to get it out of that position to where I can lay it down. All right, so we got it off. Had to get help from my cousin and my wife, but the problem I was having, the reason I couldn't pick it up is because I had the headache rack on whenever I welded these gussets in, and I didn't take into account for this bottom part right here, the kind of protruded under a little bit, and it was snagging up on me. So I had to bend this out a good bit, but I got it out. It was heavy. So let's go take a look. So this is what it's looking like. So this part slips in, obviously, because it's cut to the right height. So what I'm gonna do is draw me a line on each side with a straight edge and make my cuts and get it to fit in there to where it'll drop down. Alright, so I've been working on this, trying to get it to fit just right. So getting the right angles and everything. I basically cut it just a little too big on purpose to where I can just take the grinder and just kind of fine finish it, because I want this to fit real good. And the way I cut it is just with a cutoff wheel on this little grinder, and it cut it pretty quick. So I still have to cut, I have them all cut, I just have to finish grinding them to get them to fit. So it looks like I got the 2 or the 3 bottom ones to fit. I still have to work on these 3 here, and then I can tack weld it. Stay tuned. Alright, so after cutting and grinding, I got it to fit in there pretty good. As you can see, it fits pretty well. No gaps, not really. Same on the other side. I got these little pieces of wood right here, spacing it up to where it's pretty much centered in the 2x4. So I'm going to go ahead and tack weld it in place. I got it marked from this point to the corner at 17 inches on each side, and I put a square on it. So these are squared up. Everything should be square. Cross my fingers, because this needs to look kind of good, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and start tack welding. Alright, there she goes. It's just tacked together right now. I gotta finish welding it. That's what she's looking like though. I really like the look of it. It is super heavy. Very heavy. I'd like to get a scale just to see, because I can barely move it. I bet it weighs at least 250 pounds.
message from a new world I'd never known. Something about it felt like it'd been waiting my whole life. Is this home? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing, and suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, panic, I can't help but think that it's meant to be, that I'm finally right where I'm supposed to. If I let you into the secret, would you listen? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing, and suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, panic, and before too long I found where I belong. I can hear it, I can hear it, oh, I can't stop the rush, every note I touch. I can feel it saving me. Tell me, can you hear the symphony?
All right, finally got it done. Took me a good little while to get this in here and get it looking the way I want it. But I got all my little ugly wheels grounded down. It looks nice now. Both sides. So all I got to do now is prep and paint that part, and it's done. As far as the headache rack goes, I'm real happy with the way it came out. Let me know what you think.